You don't want veggies in your chicken soup? Got it, kids. Kids are awesome at malicious compliance, but it is a two-way street. My kids can be picky eaters at times. My wife made some damn good chicken soup, but the kids were complaining that there were veggies in their chicken soup. They hate veggies. Veggies make them sick, and they wanted my wife to pick them out of the soup. We tried to tell them that good chicken soup needs veggies to taste good, but they were being stubborn. I'm sure other parents can understand. I told the kids, if you really hate the taste of veggies, I'll make soup tomorrow, and you guys can make sure I only put stuff in you like. They liked that idea at the time. The next day, I get the pot filled with water, all the typical soup ingredients out, and gathered the kids. I asked for their approval on every item. Chicken. Yes. Salt. Yes. Black pepper. No. Gross, too spicy. Celery. No. I can't even stand the smell. Onions. No. It went on with that, with them rejecting parsley, bay leaves, and other veggies. The total contents of the pot ended up being chicken, water, salt, noodles. After the soup was done cooking, I served it up and they excitedly started to eat. A few funny faces later, and one of them said, "It tastes weird, this isn't very good." I said, "But I only put in everything you guys approved. I think from now on, I should make the soup, right?" They looked at each other and said, "Can we have mom's soup instead?" Since that day, they haven't complained about finding veggies mixed in the food. Sure, they almost always eat around a carrot or green pea, but they understand that it adds flavor. Story 2. Hold me back 1 year in HS over a single gym credit? How about I got to college a year early instead? I hated gym class, not because of the physical activity. I was in hockey and football. But the fact there wasn't enough time to shower before the bell. So you stink to high heaven for the rest of the day. So I would walk the track, all the girls. Pissed off my coaches something awful. So they flunk me in my junior year and won't let me double up my senior year, so I would have to stay back. I had already picked out my college and was tech school. Just had to finish my senior year. So I figured I could work out something the guidance counselor and the coach. Nope, neither would budge. Okay, I walk away thinking I'm screwed and have to basically take one class my second senior year. Then it dawns on me, can I just start going to college now? Are there other alternatives? So I call my college admissions and college guidance counselor, explain my situation and what other options are available. Since this is a non-traditional college, no SATs, you can start without a diploma. The caveat is you must have one or equivalent to get your diploma. The state I'm from, they don't distinguish between the two, so it won't be an issue later on. So I called another meeting hoping the HS admin would change their minds. No joy, they stuck to their guns. Thinking they had me cornered, I stood up and said, "Well, I'm just going to have to drop out then. I can't see missing a year of college to just do gym class. The coach thinks he's all cute and you can't go to college without a diploma." I relay what the tech school admin guidance told me of their policy on this. Faces dropped. It said into the guidance counselor that a dropout looks bad on her, and the school, small school, when the state audits. She starts backpedaling and I wasn't hearing any of it. Later on that night, the principal and vice principal called to talk. I wasn't interested. I was all excited about starting classes in the fall. Story 3. Sorry, you revoked my overtime privileges yesterday. This was several years ago when I worked at a redacted big-name coffee shop. My shift was 5 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., and often around 1 p.m. giant groups of kids on school field trips would come through the area. This was a coffee shop located in a major CA city, very close to a bunch of museums. I had been working a lot of overtime because of it, to help my coworkers through the rush. I got written up by my supervisor for doing too many overtime shifts without approval. I was explicitly informed to not work overtime again. I had lost overtime privileges until corporate deemed I could have them again, and working overtime again prior to that would result in further disciplinary action. The day after I was written up, right as my shift ended, 3 big buses full of kids unloaded and filled the shop. At 1:30 p.m. on the dot, my watch alarm went off and I went to go clock out. The store manager who wrote me up the day prior said, "Wait, where are you going?" I reminded her that I'd lost my overtime privileges, clocked out, retrieved the shift drink I'd made for myself right before the rush, and left. The next day I was informed my overtime privileges had been reinstated. Edits. Whoa, this took off in a way I didn't expect. This was almost a decade ago, when I was in my early 20s and an eager-to-please employee, so I didn't demand they take the write-up off my record, unfortunately. My coworkers all knew about the write-up, and were pissed about it too, so none of them were mad when I spite left to prove a point. I worked the super morning shift by choice, because I used to be a morning person, because the field trips were super sporadic, and there was no way to predict them without knowing the field trip schedules of the entire region. Our manager had somehow managed to avoid ever experiencing one since she typically left around noon. Once she saw what they were like and started believing us, they scheduled one of the afternoon shift people to come in an hour early, so we had better overlap. Story 4. Manager wanted everything I do during a workday written down. Request granted. Some context, working in an outsourcing company. Before I joined job, there were 2 people doing my job. Both left before I joined. I was alone doing the job of 2 people. Weekly reports being sent to client head, and client would visit job site once a year. So here goes. As a means of control and reporting there a general mailbox to where client should send all requests that needed to be addressed. Had to deal with 30 to 40 different people from the client side plus client head. They didn't give a shit about said mailbox. Would always email my inbox, ignoring said general one almost always. Since I was alone doing the work of 2 people, I was almost always behind on the workload and would get the idiots on the other side constantly complaining to the client head, who in turn would complain to my managers. How is it possible that OP can't deal with 7 or 8 daily emails and be behind on his work? Weekly reports stated I was only getting 7-8 emails from the client a day, completely ignoring the fucking phone, personal inbox, Skype chat, which were the ways people were contacting me every day. So client head complains to managers and escalates me for being a lazy idiot that can't even handle a handful of emails a day. Manager set up meeting to grill me. OP, you always look so busy and you're only getting a handful of emails a day and constantly behind on your work. How is this possible? Client isn't happy, and you either improve dramatically or client wants us to replace you. I explained that general mailbox wasn't the only thing I did, mentioning all other means through which client idiots were requesting things. So, solution to show client head what was being done. I was told I needed to register on an Excel sheet everything I did during the day. I asked for clarification. You mean emails and calls, right? No, everything. And email the Excel at the end of workday. So here goes my malicious compliance. I did exactly what I was told, wrote down everything I did during the workday, even including bathroom, smoke, and coffee breaks. Client writes on Skype. I write down timestamp when client asks for something, and timestamp of each and every reply, all adding to an Excel at around 500 lines every day, with my personal favorite of adding a line at the end. Time wasted to fill in sheet 1 hour, one manager laughs when he sees my full compliance. Other one, not so much, but knows can't do shit because I did what I was told. A few months later, when client head visits, tells me he fucking loved it. Was told to stop doing it on the 3rd day. They were now aware of what I did during the day.